It's two brush strokes that are in a very nurturing, supportive role together, and I thought that was important. The name of the piece actually is named from an indigenous extinct language that was used in this exact site before European settlers arrived. It was their word for water. Not that I want the work to evoke water, but I liked the symbolism of water as cleansing and refreshing and renewal. Traditionally, paintings wanted you to look into the painting and hold the viewer's attention toward the center of the painting, while these shaped paintings from the constructivist period were looking both in, but they were also dealing with the space just outside the paintings. And that was very exciting for me. So I started to play around with that, but I also realized that most artists who made shaped paintings would create a form and then paint that form. For me, that was a little confining. So I needed to find a way to create a very freely formed gesture and then let that determine the form of the painting, and which is what this is. I was very free in this painting. I painted on aluminum, and when the painting dried, I cut the excess aluminum away, but I was able to retain the drips and the mistakes and the pentimenti and all of that in the painting. Looking at art is not easy. I think that you need to let it take time, live with it, and look at it from a distance, and then move closer and keep getting closer. And there's a lot going on in this work, a lot of subtle things that you need to slowly read and let them work on you. I'm the only artist I know that works that way, that works with working with a very freely formed gesture without a ground. Really, there's no ground. The gesture floats in space. I suppose the other thing is this paint that I use is very, very thick, very viscous paint. It's almost like peanut butter when I work with it. And so it creates a texture that reaches out into the room. So you'll notice with this painting that as the light changes in here, there will be glossy areas and matte areas, and the paint comes off of the wall about 2 inches. It's very thick work. So you can see the architecture of the gesture very clearly, which is important to me. One thing that's unique about this painting, lately I've been taking bits of soil from around my studio, and sometimes I hope in the future to do it with sacred places, but I took the soil and I used an ultrasound machine, a very sophisticated ultrasound machine that I've been gifted, and I ground the soil into a very, very fine powder that I use as pigment. And so some of this painting, while it's not a representation of a landscape at all, it is part of the landscape. The painting is North Carolina. The colors of the painting are intended to work with the lights that were already installed and some of the color of the interior design, but also it's a very calming and positive, and the blues and greens are relevant for as a color for healing, and for green is the color of the trees and the leaves and the grass in the springtime, that when we see that, we know that food is coming and that warmth is coming, and that the warm days. So it's a feeling of hope, and I wanted this painting to evoke a feeling of hope. I firmly believe that color and form can change a person's mood. I've seen it, there have been a lot of studies. And if color can change someone's mood, it can change a person's behavior and the way they feel about themselves in the world. And I really think that if we can change people's behavior with a work of art like this, that we have the opportunity to change the world.